Hey guys, today we're going to take a quick look at a 750 Ti. This will not be a full review, I'm just going to show you how it looks as I've received it from my buddy who let me borrow it after I told him about the 1030 review so that I could do a quick video. However, I'm going to help him out by cleaning it as well as reapplying some thermal compound to it. But again, today's goal is to take it apart and get it cleaned out because that is pretty bad. And continual dust buildup will actually cause problems with components, and yeah, that's kind of gross also. I mean, I know it sits in your computer like that, but it's still gross. So let's go ahead and tear it apart. It's very simple. All you need is a graphics card, of course. It's a glass desk so I can see what I'm doing. And an iFixit kit. Or whatever kit you have, be it Radio Shack or whatnot. But these were on sale at Micro Center, and it's a beautiful kit for 20 bucks. It's got a magnetic top, and you can use the top to hold your screws. So that's good. First thing, of course, is to prepare your surface by removing things from the surface that would cause it not to lay flat. And then go ahead and take off these 4 screws. I'll come back to you after I've done that because it's hard for me to do this all one-handed. Okay, it was very easy, very simple to take apart. However, I did notice as soon as I did that, it came right off. Not a big deal, I guess, but yeah. As you can see, there is a fan header right here. Just wiggle it off. Pretty easy. And then you can take a look at the cooler. You can see the vanes are actually spaced out quite a bit, so there was no real issue with dust buildup between the vanes. But if it got much worse and it did start building up in there, you could potentially wind up with a problem. You can see that's the factory applied square of paste that nobody else does. And you can also see, because people are always out there saying things like, oh, if you put too much on, you'll short out your card. From the factory, it squishes out and touches the other components and leads and all that good stuff. So yeah, your claim that it will short out the card is invalid. Just make sure you use a non-conductive thermal paste when you replace it. But more importantly, look how that's gross. That's bad. Not good. Not good at all. So yeah, well, next step is to blow it off, and then I will get some alcohol and we will clean it off better. One of the benefits to a glass top is I can actually set the camera down on the desk, and it allows me to free up my hands. So first thing you want to do, of course, is to kind of clean off some of the dust before you start applying alcohol to it. And you can just do that really quick by doing that. I'm just using a gauze pad because it's actually pretty lint free. It doesn't really leave much residue. I don't know where my brushes went, which is kind of annoying, but I'll find them after I'm moved. You know, wipe down the back as well. Give it a good cleaning really quick. Although if you catch it on edges, you can tear the gauze pad. Next, just start cleaning off the thermal compound. You're going to always wind up with stuff around the edge of the die. It's not uncommon, just kind of work your way in there, get it all cleaned out. This is a place where having like a small bristled brush would actually help, but again, that's in my other kit and I don't know where it is. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble the fan in order to remove it from the back of this so I can clean it better. As you can see, there are screws that hold the fan itself on as well as hold the shroud to the heatsink. So again, just take your screwdriver and start unscrewing it. It's really important that you have a magnetic screwdriver when you do that because you could wind up losing the screws. I'm getting thermal paste underneath my hand. Maybe I should have cleaned that off first. Okay, in hindsight, I should have taken the fan off first, but again, not a big deal. Just go in there and start undoing some screws. In a thankful move, Zotac used the same screws for both the hold down for the fan as well as the heatsink, so you don't have to worry about mixing up the screws. You don't have to worry about dropping them. No! Got it. Okay, Now we have the heatsink off, thermal compound on your hand, stump of a foot, and the fan. Fan can come out from the top. And it will have the wire, damn it, attached to it. So make sure you hold on to that. Just to show you how dirty the heat sinks were, or are, even though it didn't look like it was that dirty, that's just from setting it down. As you can see, there's going to be some residue after you clean off the original thermal compound, and that's where isopropyl alcohol comes in. This is 91% because it's what the local Walgreens had in stock, and it's in a spray bottle, but you can get it however you want. Just take some, apply it to a clean area on your cloth, so, you know, find some clean real estate. There you go. The inside works. And just apply some liberally. It's just alcohol. It'll evaporate. And go to town. Since this isn't my graphics card, I'm not going to take the time to go in between each and every one of these veins since they aren't fully clogged up, but what I will do is get them blown out really well. And as you can also see, there's a lot of buildup inside of the shroud which needs to be cleaned as well. You can just use the same rag you clean the heatsink with. Also take the time to clean your fan blades. The two reasons you want to make sure you clean that off. Number one is because it's, you know, cleanliness, and that's what you're going for right now. But also because it will allow you to look better if you're mounting it sideways in a case. And it's okay to saturate a little bit, you know, to get a little bit more alcohol in there than you're actually needing. As long as you allow it to fully evaporate before you start doing anything, it's not going to hurt anything. So there you go. It's a completely clean die now, ready to be reattached to the heatsink. All we have to do is put a glob of thermal compound on there and put it back together. For my thermal compound needs, I use Arctic Silver 5. Comes in these small itty bitty tubes. They're about $8 a tube, but they actually last a lot longer than folks seem to think. Now I'm sure somebody's looking at that and going, that's way too much, that's way too much. If you go online and you look at a lot of videos like Linus Tech Tips, Luke over at Linus Tech Tips did a test about what happens when you put too much, not enough, different application processes. It's better to have too much than not enough. So I'd rather have a little bit too much compound that is within this kind of die brace, I guess that would be called, than to not have enough and give it the chance to overheat. So then you simply take these two, put them together, and screw it in from the back. I'm going to do that without holding it up. Heads up, when you're redoing these screws, make sure you do them in a cross pattern in order to ensure you get the proper amount of pressure on the die itself. And you don't want to over crank these, because if you tighten them down too much, you could actually damage the PCB or ruin the attachment points where the die is actually connected. And once you do that, then you have a paperweight. You can always try to reflow them by putting them in an oven, but really, putting your stuff into an oven at 300 degrees for any amount of time is an indication you maybe want to consider getting a different product. So yeah, just go down as far as they just want to go. See? That's it. Don't need to go any tighter than that. Just one little more time. Just like torquing the lug nuts on your wheels. That is how you change a thermal compound on a graphics card. The next time you see this card, it will be installed and running some tests and getting some gameplay, because I'm going to compare it to the GT 1030 that I did the video on last time. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. Any comments, leave them down below. If you like my stump, leave that down below. And yeah, consider becoming subscribed. You can do that over here. Become a Patreon. Then we can buy stuff like this to just check out. And if you want to see another video, click on one of those. And as always, we will talk to you later. Yeah.